Welcome back, everyone. I hope you all had a safe and productive spring break. Today, I'm going to cover Chapter 7, Part 2 of Customer Loyalty. In Part 1 of Customer Loyalty, I covered the definition of customer loyalty, classification of customer loyalty using two factors, emotional attachment and repeat purchase behavior. Also, we discussed the difference between customer satisfaction and customer loyalty. Today, in part 2 of customer loyalty, we are going to focus on how to build a foundation for loyalty. In order to answer to this question, I'm going to introduce the wheel of loyalty. As you can see, the wheel of loyalty includes three critical parts. Part 1, build a foundation for loyalty. Part 2, creating the loyalty bonds. Part 3, reducing churn drivers. In other words, reducing customer defection. So I'm going to introduce each part in detail. Part 1, building a foundation for loyalty. In creating the foundation for customer loyalty, the first step is to target the right customer. Who should be serving? Who should be your target customer, target market? That is the first question you have to answer in creating the customer loyalty. Customers differ in terms of their needs and their value to the company. Not all customers offer good value or good fit with your capabilities. So that you need to segment the market first and match your customer, target customer in that segment with your capabilities. In other words, you have to be selective with the segment you target. Don't ever try to meet the needs and wants of everybody. It's impossible to target everybody. You have a limited resource. So how to maximize return on sales using your limited resource? That means you have to select the right segment or right target market or right target customers. So focus on acquiring the customers who fit the core value proposition. Core value in terms of price, service quality, and product, as we discussed in customer satisfaction chapter. So who are the right customers? Do you think right customers are high spender or frequent purchaser? No. Right customers can be the large group of people that no other supplier is serving well. That is your market niche. That should be your target market, target customers. Again, right customers are not always frequent spender or big spender. Customers, they may purchase your product based on price only, lowest price. They're not the good target customers. They may purchase your product or service at this moment. So they look like a frequent spender or big spender, but they may not be the right customers because they may be willing to switch to another service provider when they find a better price, better deal. So we can say they are deal prone, continuously seeking the lowest price on offers and ready to switch to another service provider. Different segments offer different value for service providers. Some customers are more profitable in the short term. Yes, definitely, we need customers in that category. But again, our goal is to create a long-term relationship so that we need customers who have the great potential for the long-term growth. They are right customers. You have to build a relationship with them. So we have to do better business than more business. Once you select the target customers, now it is time to manage the customer base. A lot of hospitality companies, they manage the customer base through the effective tiering of service. Tiering of service. Customer retention strategy or customer loyalty strategy should not target everyone. Again, it's impossible to target everyone. You have a limited resource. Using that, you have to maximize profitability. How? You must be selective. Customer tiers are based on profitability and their service need. Different customer tiers have a different service expectation, different service needs. Based on that, you have to provide customized service level for each tier based on its requirement and its value to the service provider. Then how to maximize profitability? Customer profitability and return on sales can be increased by focusing your resource on top tier customers. Again, be selective. You have to focus your resource on top tier customers. Here's a good example of tiering of service, named the customer pyramid. As you can see, there's 4 tiers of customer base, starting from the top: platinum, gold, iron, and lead, based on the strengths of a relationship. Among them, which segment sees the high value in our offer, spends more with us over time, costs less to maintain, and more importantly, spread positive word of mouth? Which segment? Of course, top 2 tiers in this pyramid, platinum and gold, they are most profitable. They are kind of our partners. So we call them loyal customers, right? Which segments cost us in time, effort, and money, but does not provide us return we want. And they are very difficult to maintain and difficult to do business with them. Which segment? Yes, the bottom of this pyramid, the customers in lead group. They may be purchasing your service or product at this moment for certain reasons, such as price, availability, convenience. But again, they are willing to switch to another service provider when they find a better price, better deal, better service. Then, which segments provide the bulk of customer base and give the company economies of scale? And they are marginally profitable, but the business is not sufficient to warrant special treatment like service or special treatment for platinum and gold level. Yes, there are customers in the middle of this pyramid, iron group, right? Hospitality companies need customers in this category because of economies of scale, definitely. They have to fill all available rooms. If you're able to sell all available room to platinum gold members, that is the best scenario. But again, that's impossible. Still, you need customers in this category, in the middle of this pyramid, because of economies of scale. The question here is, the customers in this bottom of pyramid, in this lead group, you have to decide whether or not mitigate them to the iron level or simply terminate them. Customer in this category, you have to decide whether or not to mitigate them to the iron level or no, you don't have enough time or resource, effort, simply terminate them. You have to decide. Again, in order to maximize profitability utilizing limited resource, you have to target the top tier of this customer pyramid. That is the only way to maximize the profitability. That is why we study, we learn, we discuss customer loyalty. Then, second step is creating loyalty bonds with customers. How to deepen the relationship with customers? The service providers, bundling, cross-selling, upselling, or consolidating service, they are very important techniques to deepen the relationship with the customers because they make switching a major effort that customer is unwilling to undertake. We customers, we don't like to change service provider. It requires a lot of time and effort and financial resource. Customers also benefit from consolidating their purchasing of various services from the same service provider because they can enjoy one-stop shopping, which is more convenient and less hassle for the customers. Plus, by purchasing the various services from one service provider, they can enjoy higher service tier, better service, and special treatment, and better price. Also, we can think about reward-based bonds. We build customer bonds using the reward. Incentives that offer reward based on frequency of purchase, value of purchase, or a combination of both. So we are using incentives to build strong bonds with customers. There are three types of reward bonds: financial reward, non-financial rewards, and intangible rewards. First, financial rewards or hard benefit. Simply you provide financial rewards such as discount on purchase and some loyalty benefit. Frequent guests or frequent flyers, they enjoyed financial benefit, right? Also, cashback program. For most credit card companies, they provide cashback program, right? Those are typical examples of financial benefit or financial reward. Second, non-financial rewards. For example, priority to loyalty program members for reservation wait list, access to airport lounges, higher baggage allowance, room upgrade. Those are typical examples of non-financial reward, but strong, still very important benefit. We call them soft benefit. Plus, we can think about intangible benefit. They are not related to the financial reward. Intangible, again, you can see, you can touch, you can smell. We call it intangible, right? Intangible rewards, such as recognition, special recognition, appreciation, and high-tier service levels. So you can think about three different types of rewards to create strong bonds with customers. But remember, please remember that reward-based loyalty programs are relatively easy to copy. That means your competitors can copy your service, can provide exact same or even better benefit, better frequent guest program. And it cannot be your competitive advantage because everybody provides similar benefit. So this kind of reward-based bonds tend to create low-level bonds. Then how to create the higher level bonds? Again, reward-based bonds tend to create low-level bonds. That's not our goal. Our goal is to create or build higher level bonds. There are three types of higher level bonds. First, social bonds. Social bonds are based on personal relationship between service providers and customers. It's kind of building personal relationship, kind of friendship. You're building that kind of relationship. For example, service providers call the guest name. When you arrive at the hotel, the front desk agent, they know who you are. They call your name. And prestigious membership that reflect your pride, your self-esteem, and your satisfaction. It's a great benefit for the customers. They try to build that kind of social bonds with your customers. Yes, building social bonds is very difficult, hard. But once this kind of social bonds is created, it's very difficult to copy or imitate from your competitors. That means you have a better chance of retaining your customers in the long term. Second, customization bonds. We're talking about higher level bonds, right? Second, customization bonds. You provide customized service for your loyal customers. You know your loyal customers, their preference, their expectation. So based on that, you customize service for your customers. You have to learn customers' preference based on customer database, right? And then customize their service accordingly. In our business, we call it one-to-one marketing. For example, hotel companies, they capture the preference of their customer through their loyalty program database. They have guest history file, so they can identify your needs, your preference before you arrive, before you ask. It's a great customer service. Customization bonds. Customers may find it hard to adjust to another service provider who cannot customize service. You are excellent in customization and you know customers' needs and wants, and based on that, you customize service for customers. If customers like that kind of service, it's very difficult for them to change service provider. Again, lastly, we're talking about higher level bonds. Structural bonds. Structural bonds. It aims to stimulate the loyalty through structured relationship between customers and service providers. So simply, customers and service providers are structurally bonded together. Structural bonds. It is aligning customers' way of doing things with service providers' own process. For example, joint investment in project, sharing of information, process, and equipment between service providers and the customers. For example, in the airline industry, airline companies keep sending SMS, short message system, SMS check-in, SMS email alert for flight information like arrival, departure, or change of gate, information, something like that. That means it's kind of aligning the customer's way of doing things with service providers' process and equipment. So once this kind of structural bonds is created, then it's very difficult for competition to draw customers away from you because your customers have already integrated their way of doing things with your system, your process. The last step is reducing churn drivers. In other words, reducing customer defection. In order to reduce customer defection, first, you have to analyze why they are leaving, why they want to switch. So understanding reasons for customer switching, that is first step in reducing customer defection. So you have to conduct churn diagnostic regularly. You have to analyze data about customer defection, why they are leaving, what's the reason for customer defection. Analyze data on a regular basis. In order to analyze data, you need to collect the data, right? So you may want to conduct an exit interview with a few questions with customers who cancel the reservation or who are going to cancel the reservation. Also, you may want to conduct in-depth interview or conduct focus group interview with former customers who already left your company. Churn alert system. These typical examples of proactive measure. You have to monitor the activities in individual customers to predict impending customer switching. If you're able to identify those impending customer switching, then you can proactively do some kind of action to prevent that kind of customer switching. For example, typical examples of proactive detention effort may include sending the vouchers, or your customer service specialist call the customers to identify their needs and to meet their needs in advance. This is a great proactive detention effort. What drives customers to switch? There are three main themes for customer defection. First, service failure and recovery. Customers experience service failure and they don't like the recovery effort by service provider. That's why they're leaving. That's the most obvious, most common reason for customer defection. Service failure happened. Core service failure happened. That means service provider, they failed to deliver service as promised. Service mistake or billing errors, typical examples. Also, service encounter failure. During the delivery of core service, the employees, they failed to deliver the service. Interpersonal skill in terms of guest relations, guests are unhappy with their interpersonal skill or attitude. For example, uncaring attitude, impolite, unresponsive, unknowledgeable. Also, the guests, they don't like the response to service failure. They don't like the service recovery effort by service provider. That's why they are leaving. Again, the first main theme for customer defection is service failure and service recovery. Most common and most obvious reason for customer defection. Second main theme for customer defection is value proposition. Again, value include price, service quality, and product, right? Value proposition. Simply, customers don't like your pricing. Too high, unfair, deceptive. And in terms of location and hours, simply inconvenient. Too much waiting time for appointment. And too much waiting time for service. And competition. Service providers, there are so many service providers. That means customers have many options to choose. They can easily find a better deal, better option, better price. So again, second main theme for customer defection is value proposition. Third, other minor reason for defection. Example, involuntary switching. The customer, they do not want to switch, but they have to because they moved to another town. Or service provider in your town, they close the operation. So no option but to switch. Or some ethical problem with service providers. Cheating, unsafe, hard sell, conflict of interest. So again, identifying the reason for customer defection, that is the first step to reduce customer defection. According to many empirical data, there are three main themes for customer defection. First and most obvious reason for defection is service failure and service recovery. So in order to reduce customer defection, you have to reduce service failure. That means deliver it as promised. Once service failure happens, please focus on effective service recovery. That is the best way to reduce customer defection. How to address key churn drivers. First, you need definitely proactive retention measure. Proactive retention measure. Deliver service as promised. Again, the most important components of service quality. Remember, 5 dimensions of service quality. It belongs to reliability, delivering as promised, accuracy, consistency, right? And minimize inconvenience, non-monetary cost. Just again, proactive measure. And fair pricing, transparent pricing, very important. Again, in previous slide, customers are leaving because of unfair pricing, right? So providing fair pricing and transparent pricing is important attribute, reducing the customer defection. How about reactive retention strategy measures? You must have specially trained sales and marketing staff. Normally we call them save team. They normally deal with the customers who intended to stop patronizing, who ready to leave your property or your hotel or restaurant. Then save team step up to deal with those kind of customers. The job is to listen to customers' needs and issue and address them with key focus on retaining the customers. Yes, delivering the service as promised. That's very important proactive measure. What if we fail to deliver it? Again, as a human being and as we deal with service, which is intangible, invisible, service failure can happen at any hospitality entities. Then you must have effective service recovery procedure. How to implement effective service recovery procedure? There are 3 dimensions of justice theory. That is topic of chapter 8 and 9. We're going to discuss how to recover service failure effectively using 3 dimensions of justice theory in chapter 8 and 9. So today in this chapter 7, we're going to briefly discuss it. Again, there are 3 dimensions in justice theory. First, DJ, distributive justice. Second, PJ, procedural justice. Third, IJ, interactional justice. First, what is DJ? It is tangible outcome of service recovery, kind of compensation. Actual tangible outcome of service recovery. As a result of service failure, customer needs some kind of compensation, right? So service provider, they provide some kind of actual or tangible outcome of service recovery. For example, free food, free room, free upgrade, discount. Those are typical examples of distributive justice. DJ, or outcome justice. Second dimensions of justice theory is PJ, procedural justice. Simply fair policy, fair procedure. You must have fair policy, fair procedure in place in handling the service failure situation. Again, PJ means the means to achieve the outcome, how to deliver the final outcome. Whenever you have fair policy and procedure, what's going to happen? Customer can enjoy speedy handling of the problem, speedy handling of the customer complaint, because service employee, they follow the fair policy, fair procedure. It's very important, the speedy handling of the problem. So again, having fair policy and procedure in handling the service failure situation, that's very important service recovery tool, procedural justice. Third, IJ, interactional justice. Then how to deliver it? During the delivery of the recovery outcome, your employee's performance, behavior, attitude, that also affect the customer's perceptions of service recovery. For example, employees' courtesy, politeness, concern, empathy, their attitude, and determined effort to resolve this kind of situation, and providing full explanation why these kind of things happen, something like that. Interpersonal skill, that also great recovery tool. So we have to utilize all three dimensions of justice for effective service recovery. Again, we are going to discuss justice theory in detail in chapter 8 and 9. And the last step in reducing the customer defection is increasing the switching costs and barriers. Increasing switching costs and switching barrier. What is switching cost? That is cost effort the customer invest in order to change service providers. We call it switching cost. It's a lot of work for customers to change their primary service provider. That's true, right? You have to invest your time, effort, financial resource to change service provider. Together we call it switching cost. So this kind of switching cost or switching barriers can be created by instituting the contractual penalty for switching. For example, hotels may penalize the customer who cancel their reservation. If you fail to cancel 24 hours or 48 hours in advance, you are responsible for first night room and tax, something like that. Hotel may penalize those kind of customers who want to cancel the reservation. But in including the switching cost in the contract, you must be very careful, because this kind of switching cost or switching barrier should not be perceived as holding the customers hostage. Customer may see this kind of switching cost as kind of a concept developed by service provider to kind of hold them as a hostage. So that high switching barriers and poor service quality likely to generate negative attitude and word of mouth. Simply you increase high switching cost, high switching barrier, and your service level is very bad. That means negative word of mouth. Yes, increasing switching cost, switching barrier is very important marketing strategy to retain your customers. Again, before that, you have to focus on service quality. If customer perceive high switching cost, high switching barrier combined with very poor service, then the end result is negative word of mouth. Again, today in chapter 7, we discussed the foundation, how to create the foundation for customer loyalty. And I introduced the wheel of loyalty. So again, wheel of loyalty include 3 critical steps. Step 1, building a foundation for loyalty. As we discussed, first step is to choose right customer, target customers. And in choosing the target customer, you must be selective because you have limited resource. Your goal is to maximize profitability by utilizing your limited resource. Then, once you choose target customer, you have to manage the customer base. I introduced good examples of customer tier of service, so-called customer pyramid. And the best way to build a foundation for loyalty is to deliver quality service as promised. First element of service quality, named reliability. Step 2, we discussed creating customer loyalty bonds. Create the loyalty bonds. How to deepen the relationship with the customers. Cross-selling, upselling, bundling. It's a good way to bond the customers together. And loyalty reward, providing the loyalty reward, financial reward, non-financial reward, or other reward. That's a good way to build the bonds with the customers. But they tend to create the lower level of bonds. How to build higher level bonds? You have to focus on social bonds, customization bonds, and structural bonds. Lastly, last step is to how to reduce churn driver, how to reduce customer defection. Conduct churn diagnostic on a regular basis. Monitor the individual customers' activities to identify impending customer defection. And then address the key churn drivers. You can conduct proactive retention measures and reactive retention measures. And more importantly, once service failure happens, you have to focus on effective service recovery, utilizing 3 dimensions of justice theory. Also, you can consider increasing switching cost or switching barrier. It's very important marketing strategy to retain current customers, but be careful. High switching costs combined with poor service quality can result in substantial negative word of mouth. This is the end of chapter 7. Again, in chapter 8 and 9, we are going to discuss service failure and service recovery. Thanks for your attention.